curling to talk about on our coverage today. Later on, we will have the Canadian women, Kelly Law and company, still undefeated, taking on Germany. And tonight, it's Canada's Kevin Martin against Switzerland. But first up, it's men's curling with Canada against Germany. The Canadians coming off their first loss of the competition yesterday in extra ends to Sweden. With more, Don Whitman, Joan McCusker, and Mike Harris.
Thanks, Gordon. I guess the question this morning is, how will Canada's Kevin Martin bounce back from his first loss of the competition?
Well, Kevin Martin has to look back on that last game and think we played very badly from what they're used to playing anyway, and they still almost won that game. Team Canada has to think about the very simple, basic parts of this game. Throw every shot one at a time and make each one.
Well, with Sebastian Stock at 4-1, it's a battle among the top two teams. First place is on the line today, Mike.
And as poorly as Canada played yesterday, young Sebastian Stock knows that Kevin Martin's not likely to have a repeat performance, so he's going to have to play his very best to compete with Canada in this matchup today.
Two 4-1 teams go at it for first place in the round-robin standings at the ice sheet in Ogden this morning.
Thanks, gang. We'll be back with more of TSN's live coverage of the Olympic Winter Games. We return to Salt Lake City right after this.
Professional advice for those who look at wealth in a new way.
What if General Motors hadn't invented the airbag? Or safety glass? Or the rollover test? Or the crash test dummy? What if GM hadn't invented the concrete highway divider? Would you still feel safe getting into a car? As the world's largest automobile maker, we're not only committed to improving our cars, we're committed to improving all cars.
Don Bartlett will start things off for Canada as Germany has last rock on this opening end. Don Bartlett through round-robin competition at 73%, but he really struggled yesterday in the game against Sweden that went to an extra end, and Canada, of course, lost that game.
Certainly don't expect Don Bartlett to struggle like he did yesterday. Anytime you see a lead at any level curl in the 50s, that's highly unusual. And of course, Don Bartlett being one of the best in the business, I'm sure he is going to bounce back very well today.
Marcus Messencell, a school teacher, has played in 3 World Junior competitions representing Germany. This team, without question, has been a big surprise. They won the German championship, defeating a longtime international competitor for Germany, Andy Kapp, in the final game that led to an Olympic berth for the Sebastian Stock team. If there's one guy that's going to bounce back from a bad performance, you know it's going to be
heavy.
Line's good.
It's just such uncharacteristic play yesterday. I don't think I have ever seen him play in the 50s and consistently overthrowing the rock. Obviously, he plays the majority of his shots or draws. Almost every one was overthrown. And that one coming too deep as well. Part of the problem, I think, with Team Canada yesterday was how badly they wanted to beat Sweden, to kind of even the score from over the years in international play, losing to Sweden, Pia Lindholm's team.
I think they were looking a lot at the outcome of that game and not enough on each shot as they got to the outcome will take care of itself. You got to think about your performance. And I think we'll see Canada take things like one shot at a time a bit better today.
I'm sure they'll be much more relaxed in this game as well. As you mentioned, Jonah, they've been talking about playing Sweden the entire, for weeks leading up to this event, and once they got out there and had their opportunity, I think they just were unable to relax early in the game, and unfortunately, that the poor play continued right through to the extra end.
Lots of weight.
It wasn't a case of anybody really making a bad shot. It was just that they weren't making the shots that they had to. They would be just offline a little bit. They would be just a touch too heavy.
But at this level, that's enough. That's enough to cause you to lose the game. And there's, as you mentioned, like coming to the tee line or back forefoot on a come around doesn't look like a bad shot, but really it is. I mean, and if you asked Don Bartlett if he would have been happy with that come around to the back of the button, I'm sure he would say no. And Carter Rycroft as well on that one.
And it is a bad shot when you do it several times over. If it happens once during an end, that's not so bad. But what happened in that game against Sweden was it was happening over and over again several times. And it just, like I said, it's uncharacteristic that we're used to seeing this team does not make mistakes. And if they do, they're certainly not back-to-back.
Well, they really did set a very high standard in the first 4 games. Most of the players curling in the low 90s or high 80s. Well, all the players really. And so we come to expect great things from this team.
Stefan Cano moves the 2 yellow stones, doesn't take the second one out. It's still Germany with the shot rock.
And an impressive character trait for this young German team is how cool and calm they remain in the games that we've been peeking in on during this round robin. If the game is close, if they're down in the game, they don't seem to get too rattled. They stay very focused.
Gotta go for weight. Hard. Hard. Wait's there. Wait's there. Okay. Whoa, guys. Mine was good. Mine was good. Sorry, guys.
Just overswept.
Tim Somerville and his American team taking on Dominic Dupont-Rock of France in other action this morning. Norway is playing Denmark. Great Britain is up against Finland. And of course, we've got Germany playing Canada. Those are the games on the schedule this morning. Kevin Martin will also be in action on the evening draw, taking on Switzerland.
Back line! Back line!
Germany looking for a freeze here.
Back. Hinten 12, hinten 12, back. Niemals! Nur hinten 12.
Freeze or freeze tap.
Kürzer.
And a little roll over towards the Canadian stone wouldn't be bad either.
Das reicht auch.
That's a pretty good spot there.
Zielline Wolki.
Nice thing for Germany is that stone is going to be very difficult to remove. It's going to take a couple of shots to get rid of that red stone. Kevin realizes that, and it's just going to rattle things around a bit at the back forefoot. Asking Don Walchuk for just backline weight.
Walchuk's mother was here watching the game yesterday, and after the game she said, I don't think I've ever seen my son curl that poorly.
Whoa!
I think Don would have agreed with his mother. It's been a long time since any one of us has seen Don Walchuk struggle like that.
Back four! Just back four! We got no line at all. No line.
That was the desired weight. It was not the desired line. nor outcome.
You could hear Kevin Martin all the way saying no line at all.
It's decision time here for Sebastian Stark. Whether he wants to make a play on that stone at the top of the 4-foot crouch by the in-turn draw. He has to be careful that he doesn't move his red stone on the button at all, because it may set up a possible double with that red stone on the left side of the house that we were looking at it a moment ago. Freeze here. They want this stone to cross over to the center line at least. It's got a long way to curl yet. And I think we may see some rocks moving here.
Okay, Daniel.
Kevin's elected to play a freeze. Right now, that red stone on the button is going to be a couple of shots away from being removed.
A little bit, yeah.
But I think this is a good call. Take away this in-turn side. You can see where Kevin Martin is pointing to where he wants Don Walczak's stone to end up. And if Don can put it in there, they are set up to take away at least a 2-point score by Germany and cut them down to 1.
What do you eat? Heavy. Hard line. Yep. Hard line. Whoa. Yep. Long sweep. Whoa. We got back 8. Back 12. That's fine. Line's good. Very nice, Don.
That's a great shot.
Yeah. Red stone is certainly surrounded. Sebastian Stark really has no choice but to follow Don Walczak down. Try to nudge that yellow rock just behind the tee line.
And as you said earlier, Mike, he has to make a decision in this area whether you just protect your 1 point or how hard do you go after trying to get a second point in there when there's such a clutter of stones and a mix of red and yellow, whether you create an opportunity for Team Canada to bang away and get rid of your shots.
And the Germans have to be very careful as to what angles they leave Kevin Martin, because as we all know, he likes to throw the heat.
Boy, there is really a cluster of rocks around that button now. You saw the time clock on your screen, and I don't think it's going to be a factor today, although at this pace it might very well be as they play draw after draw. But last night, if you were with us for the final end of the Carrie Eriksson and Louisa Ebenater battle, Louisa Ebenater of Switzerland fired the winning stone, the final stone of the game, to score 2 with 3 seconds remaining.
Well, this one's not helping us, for sure. We can just bump it back. This one's not going anywhere then. Okay, just bump back 8.
Kevin originally considered throwing a little more weight here.
Or the nose.
See if he can stay on his feet here in the first end.
Another, such an unusual occurrence that happened yesterday in that game against Sweden when Kevin Martin fell in his delivery. And as I said before, I don't even think I've ever seen him wobble. Never mind, end up on his knees.
Well, he said he clipped his heel.
Hard line early.
And he still made the shot.
I have to go on this one. Oh, no, weight's fine. Oh. Yep. Whoa. Off. Whoa. Whoa. Plenty of weight. Whoa. Plenty of weight. Hard. Whoa. Hard. Whoa. 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 It's a good spot.
I think it's a good spot, but there might be a possibility here on the right side to drive this stone into the pocket here and possibly find a way to remove these 2 yellow stones. Certainly the stone on the back of the button isn't going to go too far. And if things work out well, he may even be able to remove 3 of those yellow stones that are in the forfeit area.
We're certainly looking at it. It's definitely thin, meaning that you have to hit the red stone only a corner of the outside of that top red stone.
Wenn wir ein bisschen anders haben und er hat den zuerst, dann geht's auch noch.
With a lot of weight.
Aber der wird mir am besten fallen. Und so die
One he has
gleichzeitig
to be
oder so.
sure that he moves.
Ja gut, dann bleibt aber hier liegen, oder? Und die gleichzeitig haben wir.
Ja, das ist richtig.
Weißt?
Aber sonst geht er, glaube ich, ich weiß nicht, ob er sonst rausgeht.
Is that one on the center line?
While Germany discusses this shot, Joan made reference to Kevin Martin slipping and falling coming out of the hack, but look at the end result.
Oder der davor kommt.
No room on the scoreboard for a story. They only put up numbers.
Wobei, wir kommen fast die Nase hin.
And as Don had said, he still ended up making the shot, but it wasn't the called shot. He ended up with the result, but it certainly wasn't the hitting the center line rock like he thought.
Bisschen mehr oder ist gut? So ist gut.
Now, as I was mentioning, the stone he really is concerned about is the stone that's just biting the center line, right in the center of the screen. I don't think there's any question that the stone to the left is going to move.
Okay.
But you need to hit this very thinly.
Very thin with a lot of weight to move the rock that you just mentioned.
Ja.
Stock is the youngest member of this German team. He's only 24. 2 previous World Junior Championships, a silver and bronze medal in '95 and '96. There'll be some movement here. Canada winds up with shot stone.
That worked out very well, though, for Sebastian. Even though he didn't get shot rock, that is now one very lonely yellow stone there for Kevin Martins at the top of the button, surrounded by 3 German stone counters. Trouble stone for Kevin Martin, I believe, is that one. That'll be the easiest route to remove that stone on the button. So the question is whether or not you want to play a guard or you want to try to get second shot.
Just watch Kevin Martin's eyes.
The wheels are turning for sure.
You want to whack this double? Is it there though? I don't know.
Not much room. Yeah, we had to make it for him. What double?
That's not there, right?
Pretty tough. It's half buried.
Looking at doubling the stone on the right side of the button.
Hit it too thin, though. It makes it pretty easy for him.
Third.
Make him make the thin double.
For how many? 2 or 3?
Be for, well, if he sticks it, he's awful thin to stick it, but he could stick it. For 4.
Leave this side open, what can you get?
This side's not very easy for him. 2, maximum.
Nose hit for 2.
How to max?
Well, that's if this doesn't jam here. He ticks that. He's only going to tick it. It might just jam here. We might end up stealing one anyway.
Well, no, all he's got to do is just chisel this for 3, right? Chisels the red for 3.
Going.
Well, that's not real easy, though.
Throws a heater at this one on the nose. Do all our yellows go too? Like just off the nose. Thims it. What else do we have with it?
There's too many options available for Germany.
Let's guard one side or the other is it.
I guess you can, but only has to hit an inch of it, I guess.
The original thought for Don Waltrip was hitting that stone at just in front of the tee line, nearest
Just off the nose, hit this thin.
the bottom of the screen.
Hits it what thin?
And make the double on that back
Just off the nose.
shot. And
doesn't hit this though. That doesn't hit it though. It misses it. He's got to hit that right on the beak just to get a piece of it. Yeah. And then this is going nowhere. No, that's okay. I think this side's the safest for us. Like Don's saying, if you can just pick this.
Let me retract my earlier statement when I said the time clock would not be a problem.
Both of his shots are really quite tough.
Kevin's thinking that Germany will run the Yellowstone back onto his Redstone at the top 8-footer. And I wouldn't play that shot. I'd just hit the red directly onto the Yellowstone and try to get 3 that way. The shot that Kevin's talking about is very difficult, but I don't think that's the one they're going to play.
Let's draw one right into here. Nah, it doesn't really help. No. Just pick a side. Something on either side.
There are still 2 rocks to come on the first end. All other games well into their second end.
Kissing in off of here has to be the best play. Right now we can't guard both his shots. We might as well try to make one. Okay.
And I like this call, coming down and rolling in.
Quiet, wait.
Just quiet, sneak in there.
And that's really the only shot that Kevin Martin can play that will not allow Sebastian Schock to score more than 1. I say that, but there are a lot of angles out there.
It's like the old line. It's kind of tough to remember.
Right now,
your
he's
main
got 2
objective
tough
is
shots,
drain the
one on
swamp
each
and
side.
rough your neck and
So no
alligators,
sense
and that's the
doing much of
situation
that.
here.
Just heavy draw.
I like this call. I don't think any guard would. If you do play a guard, it makes the other decision for your opponent obvious. And I like the fact that Kevin's going to leave them a choice as to what angle they're going to take.
Lots of room.
No, line's not bad.
Whoa, whoa.
Line's not horrible. Whoa.
Right off.
Not a whole bunch of weight.
No, never.
Just back 8.
Never.
Whoa.
He's got to cross that 4-foot stripe.
Don, you got to sweep it. Needs to roll a little. Go, Don, go. That's good.
Canada still lies just 1. The stone just delivered by Martin is now 3rd shot.
That's a pretty good shot, I think.
It's not too bad because it's cut out the back red stone for Germany.
Now Sebastian Schock has a decision to make as to how much of a chance he wishes to.
Den spielen, der ist nur für einen. Der ist nur für
See that
einen.
little short angle raise they're indicating.
Ist second da? Ja.
2.
Oder third? Third is that. Der da ist sauschwer. Saugefährlich ist er. Ungefährlich.
Na, ich kann wirklich so blöd haben, dass...
The other option would be to come down and just clip his own red stone.
Das ist richtig, aber normal. Und bleibt halt nicht viel anders.
Try to remove it that way. The danger, though, is that you hit your own red straight back and give Kevin Martin 2. So I think that's a very risky option. The safer one would be to play the stone on the left side, and the risk would only be giving up a single point. But the reward on this side is possibly scoring 3 or 4.
Ich glaube, es ist für 3, weil
Very
ich glaube, er nimmt mit den Spielstand.
Let's see, 12 minutes to play one end, 10 ends in the game.
Wow.
They need 120. They're only given 75.
Nein, vom
And he
Eis
is playing
weniger
this thin
oder mehr?
pick. And this is very dangerous. If you ever hit this, you know, just an inch too thick, you're going to possibly double your own out and give up a steal of 2 rather than a steal of 1.
But Sebastian Schock just played almost the exact same shot on his first stone. You'd think he'd have a good idea of how this is going to run.
You have to miss it wide, though. You have to, if you make a mistake, hit it too thin.
Well, this 24-year-old soldier who works in the Bavarian Alps is not reluctant to play any shot. Final stone of the end on its way. And that was the danger. It's a steal of 2 for Canada's Kevin Martin. So he took a chance, but it backfired. And Canada is first on the board.
Okay, so this is great. We've ironed out all the details. We've finalized everything. So let's proceed forward. And you know what? It's a great opportunity. So I'll get them to look at this in the morning. And I suppose you're going to want this in writing.
Nah, we're shook on it. See ya.
When Canada wins at the Olympic Winter Games, show your pride and show your Visa card. Because every time Canada wins a medal in Salt Lake City, there's more you can win. And every time you use your Visa card from now until the end of the games, you get another chance to win. When Canada wins, you can win.
Last year, taxpayers received an average refund of $715. Did you get all you deserve? How will you know? To make sure you maximized your refund, H&R Block will double-check last year's tax return free. We can file an adjustment on past returns. You could get more money back.
Gonna take a westbound, heading down the rails. I end my day with the setting sun. I'm a happy man, now the work is done. Now when I hear that whistle call me, no matter where I roam, I see the light that shines for me. That's when I know I'm home, when I know I'm home.
When I look back, I realize if I had made that one decision differently, I might not have made it to the Olympics or the World Championships. When I look back, I'm grateful that I gave my life to skating and not to smoking.
This year, over 45,000 Canadians will die from tobacco. That's why it's critical to take strong action to reduce smoking.
Tobacco, we can live without it.
A message from the Government of Canada.
Imagine a world where washing clothes keeps them looking new longer, with outstanding cleaning and less stress to fabrics. Whirlpool, just imagine. Whirlpool is a proud sponsor of extraordinary Canadian women athletes, golfers like 10-time champion Lori Kane, former amateur champion A.J.E. Thorne, and everyday champions across the country. Whirlpool, just imagine.
In other action, they have completed two ends in the game on Sheet A, with Dominic Dupont-Rock of France leading Tim Somerville of the United States 1-0. Paul Trulson of Norway trying to keep pace with Canada and Germany leads Ulrich Schmidt of Denmark 2-0 after one. And it's a 1-0 game as Hammy McMillan of Great Britain with Warwick Smith skipping leads Marko Usu-Havanimi of Finland by a score of 1-0. And here Canada leads with a steal of 2 on end number 1 against Sebastian Stock of Germany as they play end number 2. Took a long time to play the first end. 12 minutes taken off the clock of Canada's Kevin Martin.
And they're into it again.
Gotta finish it.
Now it's coming down a lot.
Here in this second end.
Let it die. Got a curl? No. Shot, Carter. Nice shot. Perfect.
And you saw those Yellowstone at the top of the forefoot and the guard on the left side. And those were Don Bartlett's first 2 stones. And Kevin Martin needs more play like that from Don in this game to really set up his ends.
Now, if Cano hits this top Yellowstone properly, he could nudge his own red into the rings and remove those 2 Yellowstones sitting out front at the same time.
He's trying to play the double.
Okay.
Still protection for that Canadian rock sitting at the top of the 4, and Kevin Martin wants another rock out front.
And that certainly wasn't the desired outcome for that stone, but you can see the characteristics of this German team. They don't get down on each other very much. It's a lot of high fives, a lot of, okay, here we go. They're very, very positive.
And they have every reason to be relaxed here, too. As you mentioned, they are very much a surprise, being 4-1. I'm sure they've surprised themselves a little bit as well. And they're playing against the favorite. And I think they have the attitude that there's really nothing to lose here. So why not? Let's go for it and see what we're made of, as well as, you know, learning a little bit maybe from the Canadian team. And wouldn't surprise me to see them give Kevin Martin a very tough game.
They defeated Andy Capp, as I mentioned, to win the German championship and the right to represent the country here in Salt Lake City. Andy Capp was the German standard bearer in Nagano 4 years ago, and he had a 1-6 record.
Yes, they really struggled in Nagano, and they, along with Pia Lindholm, were the favorites. They were 1-2 in the world the previous year, and both teams really didn't play very well at all in Japan. And that worked out great. Need a little break every now and again, and chipped his own stone in behind that corner guard.
Just peel the guard.
I guess peel the guard.
Peel.
Is that red stone sitting high, the danger zone here?
Well, I think the reason Kevin's peeling is because his own stone on the button, on the top of the forefoot, is still covered. So he realizes that if Stock does play a raise of some sort, then he'll have an open hit on his next stone.
Good.
And I think he's changing gears a little bit to being a little defensive. I think he has to be a little concerned about the amount of time they used in that first end.
Good throw.
They do have a 2-point lead. They can't afford to be a bit defensive, especially as the end progresses, and you can see how things are panning out.
You can see Stock is playing the straight back, looking for a roll in front of his own red stone. Possible to make both here.
Daniel Herberg, the third, has been the low man percentage-wise on this German team through the first 5 draws. Good shot as he drives the stone back, but doesn't remove both of them.
Good news is for Germany, it worked out well in the sense that Kevin Martin can't really play a hit on the red stone because they pushed that other yellow stone in behind. So Kevin's electing to play a draw, play a come around.
He could play a hit on that red stone.
He could hit it and roll towards the outside.
Yep. But it would leave a guard in play, and Germany looking to get their 2 back and 2 rocks in play for Canada already would probably go around that guard.
Lots of room. Lots of room.
Lots of weight.
Lots of room. Lots of room.
We're heavy. T-line plus. No, it's coming down. We're still T-line. Okay.
What are we sweeping that early for?
He's on the hurry line. It was tight line. It would have been tight. A little more weight hangs out there over the line, but.
Jeez.
Hey, God.
A little bit of frustration.
For the in-turn come around, they'd like this to stop at the top of the forefoot so they can get buried.
Over to back line. Lang. Sehr lang. Back line.
Long is for the weight. Very heavy, they said. If you're gonna bump this, make sure you bump it out to lay second here.
Ooh.
Did curl enough.
Huge miss. Great opportunity for Germany, and missing that the wrong way.
Now, when you go into a game like this, you take a look at the numbers, percentages for opposition players, what they've done cumulatively through the competition.
Our team always looked at turns, and do you want to force a team to play an in-turn or an out-turn? And particularly early in the end, you can start to dictate that when there's the center guard up, for example.
Whole bunch of tracks,
you know, if you know a team's weak playing their out-turn, you would play the out-turn come around and force them to follow you with that turn. When you get into a situation where there's 12 rocks in play, you really just have to play the right shot, and the stats are good just to kind of help you with an idea when the things are fairly simple. But I think once you get into the game, it's tough to force your opponents to play shots. You don't want to alter your strategy to play to their strengths or weaknesses. I think you have to play to your own strengths.
Plus, the stats don't tell the whole story, and they won't predict how a team will play against you. So if you look at the stats and their in-turn is very, very low, and so you play the hard the whole end for the other team to play an in-turn, and they make it perfect.
Gotta go for weight. We're light. Hard. We're light. Not even in the rings. Come on. Come on. Come on. Hard.
Sliding pretty good.
Hard, 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 hard. Hard, 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 hard.
That's good. That's good. All right. Good sweeping, right?
That was great rushing, because at one point Don Bartlett said, we're light, we're not even in the rings.
Well, then they had to wait for that rock because they needed the line.
Looking at the out-turn come around. First real look we've had at this out-turn. Dangerous even if you make this right on the top of the button. Kevin Martin's going to have a little short angle raise on the stone that he just threw on the left side.
Stock glances across the sheets, and the crowd reaction is for the game on sheet A, where Tim Somerville of the United States is playing Dominique Dupont-Roch of France, and France leads 1-0 playing the third.
Yep. Hold for længe. Godt. Gå længe. Gå længe. Og spil kolden om endelig
Only for
4.
weight is what they're saying.
Ja, ja. Efter hvad der gik. Hard! Godt stykke ned. Quick! Swing! Hard! Quick! Okay.
Great weight, it just didn't vary. And Kevin Martin now looking just to come down and hit and roll into the side of the forefoot and leave Germany the same draw to score
board
1.
weight.
It will be against possibly 4 if
Well, no,
he can
but
push it
the
clearly
problem
past
is
his
we
own
double it
stone.
out, he makes a double for deuce, right? Well, it's a tough double. I'll keep it up. I'll have a good board.
This game is almost a full end behind all the other games that are taking place on this first draw as the result of the lengthy opening end.
Hard. Whoa. Hard. 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 Whoa. Whoa. Yep. Whoa. Good.
The bump, the roll, and Canada lies 4. But he just played a draw down to the button with his first stone at the end, so
give him a chance for 2.
Stock has the almost identical shot.
We'll give him a chance for 2.
Hast du gehabt? 80. Die haben 83 gehabt.
Very simple. Right there.
Ganz viel Fuß brauchen wir.
Ja.
And we heard Don Walchuk just talking to Kevin Martin why he called the sweep early. Because that rock did roll a little bit more than what Kevin wanted, and the reason was explained we don't want to lose it, we don't want it to come up to a nose, jam on the back, and give Germany their only way, their only chance to get 2. Canada very happy to hold Germany to 1.
Ja, T-Line. Zieht lang. Eher mehr. Nein, T-Line.
Oh, he's on the corner. They're very concerned about it curling past their own red.
Really curling now. He should be okay for line.
Länge ist super. Never.
Without a brush being laid to it, it comes to rest on the button. A pressure shot for 24-year-old Sebastian Stock of Germany. He comes through and cuts the deficit in half.
We go through this every time. Red.
Blue.
Leather.
Cloth.
Whoa. Now that's a car.
No, that's my car. I built it on the web, and they sent me that the next day. Printed and personalized. My color, my interior, where to go. They even gave me a free CD player. It can be here in a week.
Well, at least we talked about it.
Come on, come on.
Choose road. Validating tires.
BF Goodrich tires with traction advantage.
Approved.
For control you can feel, no matter what road you choose. BF Goodrich tires, take control.
Come celebrate the Olympic Games at McDonald's with our classic Big Mac and a small order of our world-famous fries for only $2 plus tax. All your toonies should go this far.
There's a little McDonald's in everyone.
The problem with looking for a job is that a job isn't actually what you're looking for. What you're really looking for is a chance to be happy, a chance to be something you've always wanted to be. So all you seekers, all you searchers, all you people who know that absolutely no one ever looked back on their life and said, gee, I wish I'd played it safe. All of you, get on board. Let's go. Post your resume today on monster.ca.
You the monster.
When you travel in a country like ours, it can be an act of endurance. Knowing this, an innkeeper would welcome you, not as an occupant, but as a human being. Someone who needs privacy, a hot meal. A hotel wouldn't be a poor substitute for the office or home. It would be sanctuary. Delta, your room is ready.
You gotta do the hard stuff. You gotta clean out the closets. Get on with your life without her.
When we lose someone, are they gone forever?
I felt like she was there in the house.
She said she'd be coming to see me.
Charlie, there's something going on. This is not a joke. It was Emily. She's trying to reach me. Emily!
Dragonfly.
At theaters Friday, February 22nd.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our TSN Olympic Control Center. I'm Gord Miller. We'll get you back to curling in just a moment. But first of all, some developing news in the figure skating controversy involving Canadian pairs Jamie Soleil and David Pelche. In about 15 minutes' time, IOC President Dr. Jacques Roga and the President of the International Skating Union, Ottavio Cinquanta, will hold a joint news conference amid growing speculation that the Canadian pair may be awarded a second gold medal. Earlier today, the Court of Arbitration for Sport handed down a ruling that the referee and judges who took part in the judging of the pairs figure skating competition on Monday must remain in Salt Lake City for a hearing. However, there is growing speculation that Soleil and Pelche may be awarded a second gold. By the way, that news conference will be televised live on CBC News World coming up in about 15 minutes. We'll have more as that story develops, as TSN's live coverage of the Salt Lake City Olympics continues in a moment.
Well, no controversy here at the ice sheet in Ogden, at least not thus far, but Tim Somerville hasn't completed his entire schedule. I'm sure all those who have curled against Tim Somerville in Canada know how fiery and temperamental and excited that American men's team can get during the course of competition.
Take a look here. We're at it again this end with all sorts of jockeying for position and angles in the first 5 or 6 rocks of this end.
The corner freeze the red one. On the out turn. Yeah. Bang. Relay 3. We're gonna bump this a little bit. Change it up a little bit. Yeah.
Bump it a
Bump it
little.
a foot. Line weight.
At some point in this game, both teams are going to have to consider just throwing a few hits in order to maintain their time clocks.
If there were no time clock restrictions in Olympic competition,
Gotta go for weight.
these guys might encroach upon the women's draw this afternoon.
They'd still be playing that first end, I think.
Whoa, no, needs to curl. Yep. No weight, Kevin. Got no weight. Whoa. Hard. Whoa. Whoa. Very nice shot. That's excellent.
Yeah, when you look at the time clocks here, the other games are almost a full end ahead and have used less time than the Canadian-German match.
But as we saw yesterday in a very unusual end, you can play quickly. You can play some really fast ends. I'm not going to get too concerned yet. You never know what will happen in this game. The Canadian or German team can play very, very quickly. I think time clocks are an issue. You don't want to be taking lengthy discussions from here on in, but I don't think you can, this early in the game, determine if the pace is going to be this slow for the remaining 7 ends.
Well, one of the good things about this game is that both teams have used up as much time, so it's not a case of one team maybe trying to play the draw game and drag things out, where the other team has to hurry and rush the clock. So both are in a, the skips might say, hey, let's just fire them through this.
Well, they wouldn't even have to say that to each other. It would just happen.
And the rules here are a little different than they are in Canada, in the sense that in Canada, all that happens when you run out of time is that you're not allowed to throw any more stones. Here, if you're the first team to run out of time, you lose, regardless of how much time the opponents have and how many stones they have left.
You need to get by the guard.
Quick, quick, quick.
Just a rub.
Okay.
In the fourth end, Tim Somerville of the United States is leading DuPont Rock of France by a score of 2-1. Also playing the fourth end, Paul Trulson of Norway is up 4-1 on Ulrich Schmidt of Denmark. And in the game between Great Britain and Finland, it's a 1-1 tie, and Warwick Smith continues to skip the team from Great Britain as Hammy McMillan pulled himself after 3 straight losses, and he continues to be the alternate.
Whoa. Whoa. Yep. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, great shot. Shot, Carter. Peach.
2 very good shots from Carter Rycroft.
That's all right.
You can see the indication from Sebastian Schock to play the double. Now, the problem with this shot is once he does make it, Carter Rycroft's going to have a very short angle raised to lie 2. Assuming he makes it.
Canada still has shot stone. Germany is second shot.
Another big miss by Daniel Herberg.
See a very aggressive play here by Kevin Martin playing the guard. Another option would be to hit the second shot stone.
I think it's a bit of a message to the German team. Yes, you could hit, and in lie 3, you guard and say, hey, you better start making some shots here. Put some pressure, a lot of pressure on this German third, especially. In looking at the stats,
Tight in.
Daniel Herberg has been having trouble with his
How's the
injury.
line? Coming down. We're short now. Whoa, line's good. Whoa, you might have. Whoa.
One thing about playing the shot, though, is by forcing Germany to play a draw, you're also less likely to score 3 with your and another mistake here by Don Bartlett sliding into the rings.
Don Walchuk.
Or Don Walchuk,
It's
rather.
not horrible.
Well, Herberg was poised and ready to throw, sitting in the hack, trying to conserve some time.
Vielleicht geht hinten.
But Stock is taking time to figure out what shot he wants.
Trying to decide whether they can hit this hard enough to make the double or just hit it on the nose. I think the nose hit and stay frozen on top of that zone would be in order.
So it's where the shooter ends up that's more important.
It wouldn't be bad really to roll behind that center guard either.
Exactly.
Well, he moves all three, and Germany lies shot.
That worked out very well.
I don't think they were looking at that, but it worked out very well.
Habe ich gesehen, dass der geht.
This German team leads the competition in high fives, low fives.
I think there's a tie actually with the Swiss.
Right there.
And this is the shot Don Walchuk struggled with yesterday. His big weight hits, usually very precise, looking for a nose hit.
Plenty of weight, lots of weight. Close. Yep. Weight. Yep. Hard. Hard. Hard.
This one is on target. Canada lies three.
That's got to feel good. You can see the spring in Walchuk's step.
Good shot.
Walchuk is really the silent man in this Canadian team. He doesn't say much during the course of the game.
Well, after the performance yesterday, you're afraid to say anything in case your teammates come back at you. But I think now that Don's made a shot, you can still see him at the back leaning on his broom. He's still not quite as chipper as he usually is here.
Well, they're very intense. I was hanging around while both teams were practicing, chatting with both teams, and they really want to play well today. And you know, and you don't blame them that when things go wrong in a game that meant so much to them yesterday, to come out strong today.
Etwas mehr.
Sebastian needs a double here.
He's got it.
Okay, Stocki. Schön. War nochmal. Etwas mehr. Ja, over 10. Sorry.
Asked how his weight was, and his sweeper said it was more than he had intended to throw, but it still worked out okay.
Probably doesn't know the weight though.
Looking for this come around to stop in front of the tee line to keep the momentum going in this end here for Canada.
Depends on the line. Go for the top 8. Down the middle.
Wait, a lot of room. Heavy, Don. We're heavy. Oh, way out. Whoa. No.
It's a bad combination.
No. Whoa. Where are we at? No. Whoa. T-line. Top 4. Whoa.
Oh, no.
Whoa.
Comes to rest.
It didn't curl much, eh?
At the top of the 4. Canada lies 2. Canada has last rock advantage on this end.
Come across that line very good. If I get down the middle there, she'll really bust.
Also wenn den wieder Heckway ist, bin ich wieder wenig Eis. Aber vielleicht nach Haus.
Don Walchuk's maintaining his
kontrolliert reicht oder
silence.
Müssen wir langsamer? Reicht kontrolliert? Ich fahre nicht hier, oder? Kontrolliert. Kontrolliert, oder?
Control weight is what they're looking for.
2 Sekunden langsamer. Okay.
Stock facing 2 Canadian stones as he delivers his final stone of this third end. Canada with the hammer for the first time in the game, leading 2-1.
And this is a very important shot. Give Canada a chance to get another 2 points and a 3-point lead.
This is tight to the guard.
all over the guard.
So it's a chance for Canada to score 3.
Just training ice.
Not enough ice.
Wenig Eis, oder? Weißt du, was war von der Länge? War halt reinfällt.
Just asking how his weight was, and the sweeper said it was okay. And the third just asked him whether he thought it was, or just said it was too little ice.
So a great opportunity for Kevin Martin to capitalize here on N3 and really take control of this game.
Okay, it's on the quicker path. Hard. Hard, come on. Go. Go.
That's Bartlett screaming to Carter.
Come on.
He's okay. So with the final stone of the end, Kevin Martin draws for 3, and Canada is ahead of Germany 5-1.
Did you put it on?
I didn't put it on.
I didn't put it on.
Well, I'm not drinking it.
Not sure how fresh your coffee is? At Tim Hortons, we make a new pot every 20 minutes, so it's guaranteed to always be fresh. Tim Hortons, the coffee you can count on.
Oh, I made that last night.
Did it hurt?
Did what hurt?
When you fell from heaven. Are those astronaut pants? Because your butt is out of this world. All right, look, that's it. Somebody call the cops, because this girl just stole my heart.
Hey, honey. I'm sorry I'm late.
Oh, hey.
Here's the dentine ice that you wanted.
Sorry, I didn't know.
Hi, I'm Mark.
Julie. Thanks.
Home Depot has employed more Olympic hopefuls than any other company in the world. Home Depot, proud sponsor of the Canadian Olympic team.
This is the curb that me and Natasha used to come to. Our whole entire world, this curb right here. We all lead up the curb, we all lead down the curb, we stalled on this curb. So I look at this now and it's so small, but this was so big to us. Yep, Natasha and I challenge each other every single day, actually, on anything. Everything was a contest. Yuho from Japan, Natasha from Canada. Who'd have thought us skateboarding here every day would produce an Olympic athlete, you know?
Витя вернулся. Господи, он же в Испании.
Наташа, что же будет с нашей любовью?
Я не хочу эту любовь.
Молчи, дурак!
Having difficulty getting RSPs off your mind? We make it easy. RBC Financial Group. RSPs made easy.
When you travel in a country like ours, it can be an act of endurance. Knowing this, an innkeeper would welcome you, not as an occupant, but as a human being. Someone who needs privacy, a hot meal. A hotel wouldn't be a poor substitute for the office or home. It would be sanctuary. Delta, your room is ready.
Back here at TSN Olympic Control, I'm Gord Miller updating you on the pairs figure skating story that simply will not go away here in Salt Lake City. Just to clarify something I said earlier, in 1 hour's time at 11 o'clock local time, 1 p.m. Eastern, Dr. Jacques Roga, the president of the International Olympic Committee, and Ottavio Cinquanta, the president of the International Skating Union, will hold a joint news conference. This comes on the heels of a ruling by the Court of Arbitration for Sport that the referee and judges who took part in the pairs figure skating competition judging on Monday night must remain in Salt Lake City for an investigation and a hearing which is scheduled to take place at 4 o'clock this afternoon, local time here in Salt Lake City. There is growing speculation that the IOC may step in and overrule the International Skating Union and say that if there was judging malfeasance, that's a violation of the IOC judge's oath, and the IOC could step in and award Jamie Slay and David Peltier second gold medals in the pairs figure skating competition. We will keep you updated as the story progresses.
And you know, you have to feel sorry in that whole skating controversy for the Russian pair. I mean, they did nothing wrong, and yet they are as much involved in this controversy as are the Canadians.
Absolutely, and that, of course, it's, I think everyone has in the back of their mind that's the hazards of a judge sport, and how many times have we seen this before?
That's a topic for debate another day. There are many who have had very strong feelings regarding sports that require judging as a sole determination of who gets the gold, silver, and bronze medals.
That's why we like curling.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a winner and a loser in every game.
Put your rock closest to the button and
away we go. But you know, the Olympics are supposed to be about athletes and athletes' performances, and as you said, Don, it takes away from that Russian pair. But this whole scandal takes away from every other athlete's story here at the Olympics, because it's overshadowing everything else that's going on.
I'm Joan McCusker, and that's my editorial comment for today.
Come on!
And I think we'll see Kevin Martin saving some time from here on in with a 4-point lead. The time clocks will not be an issue now for Kevin. He'll be throwing hit after hit.
And again, you know, it's just such interesting play to watch watch the men's curling, Kevin Martin's team, and you know, the whole strategy and the angles. This game came down really to that first end so far anyway, and how complicated it was, and the choice of rock shots by Sebastian Stock for himself, especially in his last shot, and the risk he took. And as I said, I talked to these teams early, as they were practicing, or before they were practicing, and Keith Wendorf, the coach of the German team, said, we are going to play to win this game, and we're not going to play to not lose, which means we're going to be aggressive, and we're going to, you know, make selections that it gives us a chance to beat this Canadian team and not be afraid of what we're leaving them.
And that aggressive nature may have hurt them in the very first end.
Well, that's exactly right. There's a fine line between being aggressive and making silly decisions based on, you know, trying to score multiple points. Then the other option that we mentioned in that first end was possible for two, and the risk of giving up two wasn't there, did not exist. And the risk they took, I don't think, well, obviously in hindsight, it didn't warrant that type of risk, but you know, it's easy to say now. Had he made the shot for three, of course, it would be an entirely different story. But I don't think I would have made that decision.
And let's give some credit to the improved play of this Canadian team, too. Don Bartlett, for example, hasn't missed a shot through 4 ends. He's at 100%. Don Walchuk is now at 96%. Carter Rycroft at 96%. If they had posted those numbers yesterday against Sweden and it curled with that precision, it might have been a different outcome as well. Not at all concerned about losing one of his own as the shooter stays in the top of the 12, but the red rock is out of there.
Right.
A silent Don Walchuk.
But as we pointed out, that's not uncharacteristic for Don Walchuk. His interaction with Kevin Martin is Kevin needs to be in control. He needs to call the shots. He needs to do the thinking out loud. Don, when he speaks, is more of a confirmation, either a yep or a affirmation of what's already been said. That is his role. That's how those two interact.
Funny story about Don Walchuk. I was watching him give an interview talking about team decisions and strategy, goes, well, every decision is basically a team decision unless it's something Kevin really wants to play. So I think he just makes a conscious decision just to let Kevin do whatever he wants. And unless the call is really obviously something that he opposes, he's not going to say a word.
Has to freeze. Well, come around or the freeze. Just got two choices.
If there is input, as we said, it's not Walchuk. It's Don Bartlett who will make suggestions to Kevin Martin. And that's
fine.
They're talking now.
It'd be nice to just about bury an inch. Yeah, good.
Well, it's not like Don Walchuk doesn't make suggestions. It's more that Bartlett will actually challenge the decision made by Kevin.
Real nice.
Walchuk will never challenge Kevin. He'll say, well, what about this? But the decision, Bartlett will actually mix it up a little bit and say, well, tell me why.
Okay. Anyway. Goodbye.
Lots of room.
Well, just barely. Go. Go.
Hard. That's good. That's good. Takes a minute.
Well, if there was one man we said would bounce back today, it would be the lead, Don Bartlett. And he has certainly rebounded from his performance yesterday against Heya Lindholm and his Swedish team.
What I really like today, the difference between yesterday and today for Team Canada is their control of draw weight. They forever were throwing their come-arounds behind the tee line yesterday, and we've seen today that they have a much better command of draw weight, and you know they're allowing the sweepers to get involved in the shot.
And every time Sebastian Stock settles down in the hack, he's looking at a mess of yellow stones in the rings. This could be a little unnerving as the game moves along. Off his own red and harmlessly through the rings, Canada still lies 4.
And really, since the first end, we haven't seen this German team make anything of significance other than that draw to the button for one that Sebastian made in the second end.
The only spot.
So do you put this one at the top of the 4?
Right beside the one that Kevin Martin just threw, I think would be good.
We don't go too far. We can't go too far, or else he just hits and rolls onto our other one. And full top bait, if it doesn't curl too much, makes it pretty tough for him. Like you stay about here, eh?
The objective here to block off any access to the button.
Top 12 is even good.
Oh, just wait.
Kevin wants Sebastian Stock to play a hit and roll off that shot at the side of the 4-foot. Drawing to the 4-foot, although difficult, Sebastian has proven that he can do it already in this game. So Kevin's going to change things up a little bit here.
Cannot be heavy here. Cannot come full into the 4-foot. If anything, they need to come short. Like he said, 12-foot, 8-foot. Be perfect.
The fact that Don Bartlett is sweeping it is a good sign for Kevin.
Line's real nice. Go. Hard.
Full 8, what they're looking for.
Go. No.
Very nice shot.
Good sweeping, you guys.
Facing 5 as Stock gets set for his final stone.
And he's elected just to play a draw, and if he happens to rub and roll in here, that's a good news. Danger here is that he kind of gets in between, and he's heavy yet stone over curls too much, so he really has to have in his mind what he wants to throw while he's sitting in the hat.
We did see that over the last couple days, especially in women's curling, throwing for the backing, big mistake, giving that an extra little bit of weight and ended up over curling and giving up steals.
5-1 Canada lead. Stock facing 5 Canadian stones with his final rock on the 4th. Appears to have good line, good weight.
But they have to sweep this one for weight.
Quick!
They've got it there. Just nosing out the Canadian stone for shot rock.
Good call, Doc.
5-2. Canada leads as we head to end number 5.
Okay, so this is great. We've ironed out all the details. We've finalized everything. So let's proceed forward. And you know what? It's a great opportunity. So I'll get them to look at this in the morning. And I suppose you're going to want this in writing.
Man, we're shook on it. See ya.
The dairy farmers of Canada are really, really proud to stand behind the Canadian Olympic team.
Where are you going to find your best insurance deal? Where else? Insurorama! 800,000 square feet of quality brand name insurance from auto to condo, from boat to business. Look, compare, choose from a huge selection. Everything is under one gigantic roof. At
Insurorama doesn't really exist, but we do. We're your independent insurance brokers. Your best insurance is an insurance broker.
Neutrogena hand cream, developed in Norway for Arctic fishermen to protect their hands. 5 years of clinical studies prove it rapidly relieves dry skin and keeps on working to retain your skin's moisture. Neutrogena hand cream. It works.
Hey, Dave, how's it going? Good. Well, how's your diarrhea? It's gone.
So you took the Imodium Advanced?
Yeah.
Imodium Advanced. Fast relief of diarrhea and gas.
Not everything about traveling has changed, but our signs have. You'll find them near all your favorite places, even the ones you haven't discovered yet. Choice Hotels. When you're out there, keep an eye out for our new look. Call 1-800-4CHOICE or visit choicehotels.ca.
Don't think of your next job as your next job. Think of it as a long-term life enhancement upgrade. Make it great. Make it sing. Report to your future first thing Monday morning and bring your own coffee. The good kind. You know what? People do it every day. And you're a people, so you can do it too. See you Monday. Post your resume today on monster.ca.
You the monster.
The 2002 Olympic Winter Games on TSN are brought to you by Labatt Blue, on the road to gold with Canada's Olympic team. And by Visa, worldwide partner of the 2002 Olympic Winter Games.
Canada's Kevin Martin tied for the lead with Sebastian Stock of Germany, and it's still too early to make projections as to what might eventually happen. But winning a fifth game, I think, would almost guarantee you a spot in at least a tiebreaker. The way things are going, as you look at the balance of the standings, the only team that is really out of it, France. Denmark is in a lot of trouble, and Great Britain has struggled, although they have played one less game than some of the other competitors. And Great Britain now being skipped by Warwick Smith. France and the United States through 5 in a 2-2 tie. And Norway trying to keep pace. Just one loss for Paul Trulsen, leading Denmark. Finland one up on Great Britain. And in the game with Canada and Germany, it's Canada in control with a 5-2 lead. But many things could happen between now and the final draw of round-robin competition. But 5 wins, I think, would be
Well, 5 and
Would be
4
pretty good.
is on the bubble. You know, I think we talked about this earlier, saying 6 and 3, you're guaranteeing yourself a playoff spot. 5 and 4, you never know. With those standings the way they are, with Germany and Canada, one of them going to 2 losses today, that means there's only going to be, at the most, 2 teams with only 1 loss. So certainly 5 and 4 is a possibility, but you wouldn't want to count on it just yet.
And what if I told you that our first international competition, the World Championships in '93, that you needed 7 and 2 to make the playoffs?
I wouldn't believe you.
Great shot.
Well, that was the truth.
Is that right, 7 and 2?
Yeah, it was one of the rare kind of things that happened when we went into the last round robin game against Scotland. We had a 6 and 2 record, and the winner, and so did they. And the winner of that game was going to make the playoffs, or it looked like it was going to make the playoffs, and the loser was going to be out. As it turned out, we won that game, 7 and 2 records. Scotland lost 6 and 3, and an upset happened over on the far sheet, extra end, and with Norway losing, and 6 and 3 did make that tiebreaker, but it was one of those kind of fluke kind of, can't believe that they lost that game.
But there wasn't the same kind of parity in the curling, the caliber of the curling, as there is here. That, I mean, there were some weaker rinks in that field that were almost gimmies, so the stronger teams would obviously have better records.
Oh, you know, I'm going to tell you, you never know what's going to happen. You really don't.
About this far
in these round robins, you don't know whether there is a group that is going to separate from the rest, and the rest are losing, you know, teams that you don't, you wouldn't expect. I don't know, over the years, and you go into these things and you think, yeah, that 3 losses is going to get you something. You just don't know whether it will.
A little more.
Okay, I'll buy that.
Okay.
Line only.
So I was right. 7 and 2. 6 and 3 did make the playoffs, right?
It did.
Okay, there you go.
Over a fluke, though. It sure didn't look like it.
Just as long as we're clear that I was
Are
right.
you clear that you're right?
Don't know what to do with it, though.
You can see Kevin Martin, even with a 3-point lead and the hammer, has really decided to go hard here in the 5th end. And the reason they had to do that was that Sebastian Stock threw up 2 center guards and used the full rock rule to full advantage, which is something that a lot of teams have not been doing thus far in the tournament.
So even with this 3-point lead and last rock, every rock is in play so far.
Yep. Hinten 12. Yep. Ja, hinten 12. Ja. Ja. Hard. Quick. Alles. Quick. Hard. Weiter, komm vor. Ja, ja.
Here's another good come around.
Okay. That's all good.
And those red stones end up in a very nice position. Very tough to double out. Kevin Martin now looking at angling his own stone.
And this will be lined up
onto the red.
That's
try
fine.
to double this.
Is this Kawasaki going to be lined up pretty good then, eh?
Well, it'll be gone, yeah.
Huh?
Well, no, but I'm thinking that it'll end up in the crotch. This thing will get bumped to here somewhere. It'll probably look pretty good when we're done.
What do you want to do, hit thin?
Half a rock. Come off ours. This is a bad stone right now. It's killing us. This thing will hit right in the crotch. Sit buried here. So keep your weight up. Half rock.
Half rock.
And if you are just learning about this game, you got to listen to this
move to here or not.
Kevin Martin tee and how to move your rocks around, and when things are looking good, you think it's looking good, it's really not looking good, it's deceiving, and learning about the angles and what you're leaving the other team and what might happen later on in the end.
Yeah, Kevin thinks he's going to move both of the reds. I'll question him on that. No, I think he's only going to get rid of the back one.
The task assigned to Don Walchuk, and he has fired a rocket.
Okay.
When the smoke clears, one red is out of there, and Canada lies 2.
He did move that top red a little bit.
That's good.
Very good shot.
It was interesting, Kevin's previous comment when he tapped one of his own yellow stones said, this is the danger stone.
And yet it is in front of the tee line and it belongs to you. It's just such a lesson. You know, you go to school every time you listen to these guys play.
Yeah. And it was preventing him from playing a double on those two red zones, and that's why he said it was a danger. There was no possible way of removing the German stones, so he decided to go at it another route.
And that's one of the great things the wireless microphone has brought to the sport of curling, is that the viewers sitting at home can listen to the strategy being discussed and the shots that they're attempting.
The Germans have to be careful to get this stone deep enough into the forefoot so that there's not going to be a little angle raise on those stones at the top. They want to get this right to the back of the button.
Great shot. Very tight on the guard as well.
That's where Herberg puts it.
Wir mussten auch wegen der Richtung,
Ja,
oder?
auf jeden Fall, der ist gut vorbei.
Just see how close he gets to the guard. It doesn't get any closer than that.
94 gehabt. Super. Naja.
I don't know. Den Steine geht's auch.
Der zieht ganz schön rüber ab der Hauptmann.
Ja, ja.
Ich hab auch gedacht, der geht gut.
Hey, we gotta go here. Come on back a little.
Looking for a freeze.
Good shot.
Good one.
You heard Kevin turn around and acknowledge to Herberg, good shot.
And that's another thing you see in curling. And, you know, we saw yesterday when Kevin Martin made a couple of flukes, he kept going over to Peter Lindholm time and time again to apologize after making a fluke here and there. And that's something you do with the top level teams.
Heavy, whoa!
Yep, hard! Hard! Whoa!
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 It'll finish.
Didn't quite finish enough.
Sorry, guys. Got it?
Looking for the same shot. Danger, of course, again, as I mentioned, you don't want to have the stone stop right here because there is possibility of raises in this area. So he has to make sure he gets this right to the button.
Da hat er jetzt 83 gehabt, also Spiel 80.
The Canadians,
75 hatte ich genau
thrown
gleich
by
geblieben.
Don Walchuk, didn't finish very well. It didn't curl very hard at the end.
And that was just the weight, I think. He had a lot more, not a lot more, he had about 3 or 4 feet weight more than the German stone did. And he didn't get by quite as tightly either.
Exactly. You have to be careful that you're tight to the guard with this draw, but also, you know, you don't want to rack on it. So if you hang out, you'll leave a double on the wide side as well, on the intern side.
This stone's a long way out there as well.
It's finishing now.
Can't afford to move those stones in the back.
Was war der? 75.
I think that reaction just tells the story.
Huh? Yeah.
Hit it in the crotch, you mean?
Kevin's looking at the double.
Well, yeah, just hit it right in the crotch. Hit this in the crotch.
Yeah, if you miss it, they can steal 2.
Those stones there, he wants to remove them rather than play the freeze because that would force Sebastian to play a cold draw into
I'll see how much I can see.
Yeah.
Easy, much easier shot to play the freeze, but
See much. Huh? Me neither.
Can't see very much of it. I can see more than half, I think.
Kevin backing up all the way down the ice.
Missed this shot, they're going to steal 2.
Yeah, but I can see more than half. Well, he still might.
Fine, we're up 4.
A little less ice.
this is not a democracy.
This is the shot he wanted to play almost from the moment he started moving towards the hack.
And there's that character trait of Don Bartlett again. I'm going to challenge Kevin. No one else on the team does that.
Yep. Whoa. Yes! Hard!
A huge shot for Kevin Martin. That's the shot he wanted to play, and he's rewarded.
Shot.
Look how close he's to this guard.
Great shot. See, Kevin wouldn't even look at Bartlett as he came down the sheet. He had in his mind exactly what he wanted to play.
And that's that old story again of if the thrower has to be the one that makes the decision on what they want to throw, what do they feel good about throwing. And I'm going to point out the time clocks. We just saw a picture of them. We were very concerned after the first couple of ends of how little time was left. Both teams are in the high 30s for time remaining. That's no trouble. They're going to be okay. There's not going to be a real time issue.
This has to get buried. And it has to be on the button.
Wird lang. Wird lang.
A little bit long.
Canada has shot Stone.
And I believe that Stone is
Did I
still
get it?
about a
I think so.
quarter open, at least, possibly half open. This will be a chance for 3 here for Kevin Martin.
Okay.
Here's a piece there you can see. Yeah, about a third anyway.
Might have.
Of that Stone.
Well, maybe
Actually,
I was
from here, it looks
premature
like we've got it.
in saying that Canada has shot, but from the overhead camera, it looks as though Canada does have shot.
What Kevin's doing, if you see him standing on the outside, he's trying to see how much blue paint you can see underneath the stone. And quite often teams will go to the outside and see Don
Close,
Walchuk
close.
doing the same.
Let's try to bump it an inch.
Well, if he does bump it an inch, there will be no doubt.
And if the line's good, they'll sweep it as hard as they can and try to bump it, you know, a foot or two and try to score 3.
Exactly. Can't tell.
Draw for 1. And
from one way, it looks like yellow, and then not sure. Not sure. Let's play the draw anyway.
Oh, yeah. That line will take it.
And that's sometimes the problem with overhead cameras. You need to look directly above the rock to get a view of how much of the circles it has.
Room. Just T line. Got no line.
No line.
Not much weight.
Okay.
Not much weight. We gotta go for weight.
Line.
Put it on the tee.
Okay, we got the weight. Go.
Okay, line's good to move it.
Go.
Move it.
Will they get 3? Will they get 2? Just enough to get 2. He had to bump the redstone back, and Martin was successful in doing just that and has jumped into a commanding 5-point lead.
Come celebrate the Olympic Games at McDonald's with our classic Big Mac and a small order of our world-famous fries for only $2 plus tax. All your toonies should go this far.
There's a little McDonald's in everyone.
From all Canada Post employees to all those dedicated athletes who inspire us, good luck.
The Olympians, brought to you by RBC Financial Group, supporting Olympic dreams since 1947.
my goal in curling has always been to be world or Olympic champion. When I first started playing in 1974, as a 14-year-old, that was my goal, and it hasn't changed. And I've always said I'm not going to quit until I accomplish my goal. And I could have been done in '91, and then again in '97, and so hopefully this time we can finish it off. When you're the Canadian team in curling as well as hockey, you're expected to win the gold, and if you don't win gold, you know, you're disappointed and you're letting everybody down. But that comes with the sport that you're in. And if you've played internationally enough, you realize that, and you get used to it. In Albertville, it was sitting in a remote place, like an hour and a half up in the mountains. We were all by ourselves, nobody else around. And it was sort of very amateurishly done, and there weren't very many people there, and it was just the curlers. But when we lost, it wasn't like a big deal. But I'm sure if we lose this time, it'll definitely be a big deal, or if we win, either way. You feel like it's the whole deal this time. I mean, everybody in Canada knows how good we are, but if you don't win the big one, you know, there's always that question mark. And it's definitely the focus of my life right now, and I'm sure it's the focus of the rest of the teams. And we want to win. We really want to win bad. It's paramount. Everything I've done for the last 4 years is to get ready for this. Like, we lost the final in '98, the last rock to Mike Harris to go to the Olympics. And so I've been waiting 4 years, because I know I don't have many years left. And it's the biggest deal in my life right now. It's number one on the priority list, and hopefully we can accomplish that goal so I can quit. I've told them that as soon as I win the Worlds or the Olympics, I'm going to play one more year and I'm quitting. You know, I got 2 young boys at home, and Dad's away quite a bit, and I don't think it's fair for them, you know, to be away so much. So I'd like to get this done, get it over with, and start a new chapter in my life.
Welcome back to our TSN Olympic Control Center. I'm Gord Miller with more breaking news on the Olympic figure skating controversy. The Reuters news agency, quoting unnamed IOC sources, says the Canadian pairs figure skaters Jamie Soleil and David Pelche will be awarded gold medals. Now, in about a half hour's time, IOC President Dr. Jacques Roga and the President of the International Skating Union, Ottavio Cinquanta, will hold a joint news conference. It is not known what the subject of that news conference will be, but there are massive reports all over Salt Lake City that Soleil and Pelche will indeed be awarded second gold medals, so there will be 2 pairs of gold medalists in that competition. Later on today, the Court of Arbitration for Sport is scheduled to hold a hearing after ruling earlier today that the referee and the judges from the pairs figure skating on Monday must be available to testify into the ongoing judging scandal. And all of this happens as the ice dance competition is scheduled to happen here tonight in Salt Lake City, amid reports that has already been part of a predetermined finish, which was related to the pairs figure skating judging. So this story continues to roll along, and we'll continue to update you on it. But when we come back, more curling from the ice in Ogden.
When you travel in a country like ours, it can be an act of endurance. Knowing this, an innkeeper would welcome you, not as an occupant, but as a human being. Someone who needs privacy, a hot meal. A hotel wouldn't be a poor substitute for the office or home. It would be sanctuary. Delta, your room is ready.
No head start, no podium. It's simple. You want to get ahead of the game? Well, this is where it all begins. Sure, there are setbacks, kinks. Am I a perfectionist? Yes. Maybe.
Here's your chance to get ahead of the game. Purchase virtually any 2002 General Motors vehicle and don't pay for 3 months. Plus, get 0% purchase financing only at your GM dealer.
Scores! 3 months of training, 4 years of glory, baby. Scores!
Well, it's not really a mystery anymore, is it? Why our prices are such a value.
When you actually make your own suits and sport coats, before selling them in your store, you control not only the quality, cut, look, and feel, but also the price. After all, when people leave here, we want them to not only look good, but feel even better. Well made, well priced, well dressed. Moore's.
The 2002 Olympic Winter Games on TSN. Brought to you by Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons wishes our athletes every success. And by Monster.ca, proud to help Canadian Olympic athletes find rewarding careers.
The Canadian men's Olympic hockey team plays its first game here in Salt Lake City this afternoon, local time, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's Canada versus Sweden. That game will be carried on the CBC. And now, as requested by members of our curling commentary crew, let's go back to Joan McCusker, Mike Harris, and Don Whitman.
Joan, you should be very pleased with Gord Miller's introduction.
Well, you'd asked him to do that, didn't you?
You're the most important member of this group. We made that decision yesterday.
Why, thank you.
Gord talked about the Canadian men's hockey team being in action for the first time, playing Sweden today.
Sure, we're in.
The Canadian men's curling team went to Salt Lake the other day when they had some downtime and took in action involving the Canadian women's hockey team. And the support they provided for the Canadian women has been returned here today at the ice sheet in Ogden as 4 members of the Canadian women's hockey team are in attendance to watch the action.
Gleiche Zeit habe ich, du? Auch genau 3 Jahre. Schaut gut aus. Ja. Okay. Sehr schön.
And there are the members of the women's hockey team, Tammy Lee Shuchuk, Sherry Piper, and Dana Antal, and the equipment manager, Robin McDonald.
Hard.
And for the curlers, that's one of the great things about going to the Olympics, is that you get to meet all of the other athletes here, and you feel like you're part of a greater team, not only with your counterparts, but also with the skiers and the skaters and the hockey players, and that's the great thrill of being at these Olympic Games.
And we heard from Don Bartlett during the 5th end break. I don't think there's anybody who has enjoyed this Olympic experience more than Don Bartlett. He's been visiting with people, he's been attending events, and he said it was such a huge thrill when he delivered his first stone of competition. And we've said this before. He looked at that rock with the Olympic rings and then slid out across the Olympic rings, and his dream of being an Olympian was realized. Canada in control, leading 7-2, playing end number 6. They were tied with Germany coming into this draw, each team with a 4-1 record. The way things are going over on sheet B, it looks as though the only other team with just 1 loss will be Paul Trulson of Norway. He has played 1 less game than Canada and Germany. He would move to 4-1 if Canada hangs on. Of course, Kevin Martin would be 5-1, and the Germans would drop back to 4-2.
And the way the Canadian team has returned to their normal selves, playing it very, very well in the high 80s, low 90s percentage-wise, I'd be very surprised if this game gets close at all in the last 5 ends.
This game could have been entirely different, as you pointed out during the break, Joan, had Canada not been successful in the steal of 2 on the first end when Stock missed with his final stone, when he was gambling to get more than 1.
Well, that's exactly it. That end turned completely around when Sebastian Stock missed his last shot very badly, took a big chance. Whereas he could have just taken his 1 point and ran, because really Canada was scrambling a bit in that first end. And from that point on, Canada's been in complete control. So had things been turned out a little differently on Sebastian Stock's last rock of the first end, this could be a different game. But that's, you know, that's sport.
Zeit. 44. Länger. Ja. Bisschen länger als Heck.
Daniel Herberg has struggled particularly in this game. The third on the German team.
Okay, der ist gut. Okay.
And he didn't want to remove the yellow Canadian rock from play. He wanted to tap it behind the corner guard.
Yes, this German team needs stones in the rings. Stones they can maneuver, because they are down by 5.
Well, they have the right idea at the beginning of the end. They're throwing guards. They're using the free guard zone. They're taking those 2 free guards right off the top. Then they need to make every shot after that.
Von außen ist besser. Okay. Schau besser rein.
Going way out wide here on the south turn side. This is very similar to the path he threw in the, I think it was the 4th end for off the 1. Second inning, he threw the same draw as well.
This German team is from Oberstdorf, which is in the Bavarian Alps in the southern part of Germany. They held a world championship in Oberstdorf a few years ago.
I was there.
Okay.
They set me up there, Don. 1994 World Championships were in Oberstdorf. My team, skipped by Sandra Schmerler, and Rick Folk's team were the Canadian representatives.
Try to get the right line here.
For any Canadians going over to that area in May, they have a great summer spiel in Oberstdorf as well, that I was fortunate to play in while I was living over in Austria.
As long as we choke off his.
And it was a lot of fun, and I met a lot of this this German team while I was there.
I did too. I just didn't remember. Sebastian Stock came up to me the very first day I was here and said, "I think you know my mother." And his mother, Inga, took me to a school, a tour of a school in Oberstdorf, Germany, because I am a teacher, although non-practicing the last couple of years.
Line's real nice. We're in the rings.
Lots of room.
We're in the rings. That's good. Whoa. Wait for it. Whoa. That's where you wanted it, right? That's good. Yeah. It's a good spot for it.
That was a great come around actually by Kevin Martin.
Yes.
No double possibility there.
Ja, mal den. So mit T-Line.
And I like the fact that Germany's still trying to figure out a way to get 2, even though Kevin Martin's really in a good position here.
Mit so normalen Takeout. Meinst zum Eis? Bisschen mehr. Noch ein bisschen mehr.
Playing the run back.
Ja. Noch normal. Doggy geht ja so, wenn du theoretisch, wenn du von dem Tagweight schräg tappst, dass du den rein und den Spielstein reinbringst. Geht nicht? Und jetzt halt ein Double für 2 mit 2. Nee, der geht nicht, der liegt Zeit davor. Gut. Und noch normalen Takeout.
Talking about bumping the guard back behind the corner guard and possibly having a double for 2 on his last one. And Sebastian Stock waves off the call and sticks with his original plan of the raised double.
Mike Harris, our interpreter, actually knows.
I actually know.
German.
Quick! Sit!
The red stone is going to, unfortunately for the Germans, roll out of the rings. Canada still lies too.
So, lass es weg. Okay, schön. War der normal oder kürzer? Schon normal, oder? Ja, glaube ich. Ha! Mein Gott. Bisschen eng war er halt. Das Eis hat, glaube ich, schon passt. Bisschen eng, ein bisschen kurz.
Kevin Martin looking for a stone right at the top 8 foot.
Line's a big thing, but right the top 8's perfect. Right?
And that will force Sebastian to play a double in off that stone on the side of the 8-foot rings for a single point.
Once again, Canada in complete control of the sixth end.
Hold it. Whoa, whoa, wait for it. Wait for it.
Wait.
Okay, line's good. Whoa.
One almost 15-second split here for top 8.
Whoa. Whoa, line's good.
Finish it at the end.
Bite the top 8.
We're there.
Whoa.
That's about exactly where they want it.
Great command of draw weight today.
I don't know what else we could do, really.
I suppose we could have
Come in and
bumped it.
Right straight.
Yeah. Then that double would be
Normal.
wouldn't be as easy.
Ja, Double. Also ein bisschen mehr wie gerade, wo der war umdreht.
Ja.
So 2 Meter mehr.
Okay.
Interesting, they're talking about weight, throwing 2 meters more weight. That's it's an odd way to say it.
I mentioned earlier that every time Stock has settled down in the hack, he's been looking at a mess of yellow stones in the rings, and he's facing 3, trailing by 5, playing this 6th end.
Hey! Yes! Whoa! Whoa! Yes! Whoa! Whoa!
It's good. There's the hit. There's the roll. He's got one.
Very nice shot.
Georgina Wheatcroft, the second on the Canadian women's team, still undefeated, watching the action unfold.
This is the curb that me and Natasha used to come to. Our whole entire world, this curb right here. We all lead up the curb, we all lead down the curb, we stalled on this curb. So I look at this now and it's so small, but this was so big to us. Yep, Natasha and I challenge each other every single day, actually, on anything. Everything was a contest. Yuho from Japan, Natasha from Canada. Who'd have thought us skateboarding here every day would produce an Olympic athlete, you know?
When you travel in a country like ours, it can be an act of endurance. Knowing this, an innkeeper would welcome you, not as an occupant, but as a human being. Someone who needs privacy, a hot meal. A hotel wouldn't be a poor substitute for the office or home. It would be sanctuary. Delta, your room is ready.
If I had just one McDonald's French fry left, who would I give it to?
I'd save it for somebody special.
I'd give it to someone that rocks.
I'd give it to my first and only girlfriend. I'd give it to the best coach I ever had.
I'm not telling. The last fry goes to the whole Canadian Olympic team.
And let them fight over it.
There's a little McDonald's in everyone.
Don't think of your next job as your next job. Think of it as a long-term life enhancement upgrade. Make it great. Make it sing. Report to your future first thing Monday morning and bring your own coffee. The good kind. You know what? People do it every day. And you're a people, so you can do it too. See you Monday. Post your resume today on monster.ca.
You the monster.
The 2002 Olympic Winter Games on TSN. Brought to you by RBC Financial Group, supporting Olympic dreams since 1947. And by General Motors, getting more people to where they need to be than any other company in the world.
Hammy McMillan started the competition as the skip of the team from Great Britain, but after 3 straight losses and a lot of frustration, he pulled himself from the lineup in place of the man standing to his left, Warwick Smith, who has just gone out of the picture. And Warwick Smith skipped the team to its first win, and now Great Britain is involved in a 3-3 battle with Finland through 6 ends of play. The Americans have jumped into a 4-2 lead. Tim Somerville ahead of Dominic Dupont-Roch of France through 6. And Norway's Paul Trulsen is leading 6-3 in his game against Ulrich Schmidt of Denmark. It's 3-3. Warwick Smith of Great Britain, Markku Uusipavoniemi of Finland, and Canada leads Germany by a score of 7-3. This evening, Canada will be in action against Switzerland. Andreas Schwaller and his Swiss rink providing the opposition. And this afternoon, Canada's Kelly Law puts her undefeated record on the line against Germany's Natalie Nessler. You know, we talked earlier about this German team being from Oberstdorf in the Bavarian Alps. Curling is a popular sport there, and they do have a big spiel. But Oberstdorf, as far as North Americans are concerned, is probably remembered for the ski jump that symbolizes the agony of defeat on ABC's Wide World of Sports. The ski jumper that went crashing off the side of the jump that was featured in the opening of the show for so many years.
And that's just another reason why we like curling.
Have you ever gone up to the top of one of those ski jumps? I'll tell you, it takes a lot of nerve just to look down the ski jump, never mind strapping on the boards and sailing off into the distance. I remember my first Olympic Games in Innsbruck in 1964. You stood at the top of the ski jump and you looked down, and at the end of the landing area there was a cemetery.
Oh my gosh. A little warning of things to come. Just like so many sports, including curling, you just don't know what it's like until you try it.
I don't have a fear of heights, but when you stand on the top, it's like standing on the top of a 10-meter diving board. I always admire all those divers, and you look down. Not only are you 30 feet up in the air, but you're looking down into about 20 feet of water.
Okay. Yep.
Carter Rycroft playing the double peel.
Oh, yikes. Yikes, yikes.
That comment about yikes, yikes. Kevin Martin concerned for just a second there that he was going to nudge that red stone back onto the yellow stone in the rings.
Huh?
And even if that happened, Canada's still not in no trouble here on the 7th end.
Gut. 2.
And the Germans using split times as well. They're asking for 90, 290, and that was an 88 split, so that was right about what they're looking for.
Yep, yep. 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 Okay. Okay.
Go this way. I think this way is probably the easiest.
Walchuk attempting to peel the stone on the center line. Canada lying shot stone.
Good.
And Canada also has a biter on the 12-foot. You know, you talk about Olympic sports. How about the luge? They should have involuntary luge. Okay, spectator number 7 over on the right-hand side. You're next.
I don't think I'd be going to watch.
I have gone down a bobsled run in Calgary at the Olympic Park in Calgary, and I tell you what, that is one scary sport as well. And we were in, you know, basically just a big rubber tube that you couldn't fall over, and had the helmets going, and it's very scary going down that track. Those athletes are very brave.
Thrill seekers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, Kevin Martin calling for appeal on this center guard.
And these peels are complicated by the corner guards. Just kind of gets in the way, and you're not sure if you're going to bump them in or send the peel into the corner guard and it'll come off of it.
See Don Bartlett joining the chase there about halfway down the speed that Don Walchuk throws those peels at.
I think we should put a clock time in some of his rockets.
He hasn't really thrown a really hard one yet. These guys can throw them very, very fast. Really, sometimes they're controlled kind of weights.
Stock looking for a little hit and roll behind that corner guard.
They've got the skip of this German team listed at 67%.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoa, whoa. Yeah. Yeah. Whoa. Whoa. Yeah. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Gets a little roll, but it's still open.
Just missed the sweeping.
Okay. Schwer zum Sehen da, ob es wegschwimmt oder.
Boards right down center line should be good.
Yeah.
Can't you just feel the confidence building back up into this Canadian men's team?
Yep. Hard. Clean.
Yep. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa.
Dash.
Whoa. Good.
Canada lies two as the shooter rolls over to the edge of the 8.
And decision time for Germany.
Sorry.
They want to steal. They're going to need to get one buried here, and I think they almost have no choice here, Joan.
Kind of expecting it to go there.
A little. A lot of weight.
A bit more.
I think the German team has to go for the steal. They're down 4 points.
Not a bad option, actually, just to come down and tap this stone back into the top 8, but they really only have to get it in just biting the 8 to get shot rock.
But it doesn't really matter whether they tap or they draw it there, as long as they get in front of the tee line.
Exactly.
As buried as they can behind that corner guard, mission accomplished.
Yeah. It looks like they've elected to play a draw. That seems like a lot of ice to me, though. Let's see if this curls enough.
Well, if they don't get this buried and they don't steal a point, Martin has a shot at 3, and I think it will be gloves off time.
I think so too.
Although nobody's wearing gloves in the German team.
Gib es weniger. Länge ist gleich geblieben, oder?
Ja.
Ja.
70-ish was the split.
Ja, hinten 4, hinten 8. Hinten 8. Nein, T-Line. Komm mal hinter, Daniel. Jetzt hinter. Ja. Yeah.
Pretty good line.
Yeah, the line's
take
getting
this
very
deep.
good.
Quick.
To the tee line to lie 1.
Just doesn't finish there as well as it has. And that guard is so tight, it's hard to get buried.
Ja, super.
Super is right. That's as good as that got.
Naja. Geht fast nicht viel besser. Schön gesehen, Stefan.
Can Kevin Martin throw enough weight to move the stone back far enough to get
certainly.
2?
He's actually throwing a hack weight hit
Definitely
here.
gonna throw a little less weight. Should run true down there.
Definitely less.
Kevin Martin's final stone of the 7th end.
Whoa! Whoa! Clean. Hard. Hard. Real hard.
Rushing it to get it past the guard onto the shot stone belonging to Germany. He's on the guard, and it will be a steal of 1.
Well, that one I was scared to get on.
So it's a 3-point game with 3 ends remaining. Canada ahead of Germany.
Closed captioning is brought to you by members of the Canadian Real Estate Association. You've got a life. We let you live it. We're realtors. Real estate is our life.
I felt like she was in the house.
Emily's dead, Joe.
Between this world and the next, a bridge is about to be crossed. A message is about to be passed. And a journey is about to begin. Dragonfly. At theaters Friday, February 22nd.
Closed captioning is brought to you by your community insurance broker displaying this symbol, proudly behind Canada's athletes in their quest for gold.
Of course, everyone has the right to be published, but the odds are against you. Why? Money. A publisher must commit thousands of dollars for an initial...
That's not exactly true. With on-demand publishing technology, everything's digitized. People can even print one book at a time, and forget warehousing. So now everyone here can get published.
Yeah. Come on, come on.
Home Depot has employed more Olympic hopefuls than any other company in the world. Home Depot, proud sponsor of the Canadian Olympic team.
Welcome back to our TSN Olympic Control Center. I'm Gord Miller. If you're wanting to switch over and see the International Skating Union IOC news conference that's going on right now on the CBC. Right now, Ottavio Cinquanta, the president of the International Skating Union, reporting that the ISU Council met last night following the men's free skate and determined that there was misconduct by the French judge in the pairs figure skating on Monday night. That judge has been suspended, and it appears as if Jamie Soleil and David Pelletier will be gold medalists after all. However, there will be co-gold medalists in the pairs figure skating. They will share the gold with Berezhnaya and Sigurlica. So that news conference going on right now on the CBC, but it appears Canada has won gold again without competing even here at the on day 7 of the Olympic Winter Games. More on that in a moment, but right now, back to Don Whitman.
You know, it would be really interesting if Saleh and Pelletier refused the gold medal.
I think that would be very interesting as well.
I mean, they've received all the publicity. Everyone knows that they should have won the gold medal. And now they could really make the International Skating Union
still lots.
look weak by refusing the gold medal.
And I don't think it would hurt them any to do it either. I mean, they're, you know, we've talked about this before. Sport is sport, and when you're in a judge sport, sometimes things don't happen that are fair, and unfortunately for them, it's really tarnished the whole sport, and that's really the downside for not only them but for figure skating itself, and as you mentioned, on to the Russian couple as well. They've really been the victims here too, because not one person has come up to them and said congratulations. So anyway, it's good for David and Jamie. But it would be interesting to see if they did refuse it, what would how the press would react.
Er ist etwas mehr als Backline. Bisschen, ja.
And you see all of those guards out front again. German team throwing up the 2 guards in the free guard zone, and of course Kevin Martin not being able to do anything about it. And
until now.
Until now, but I've been very impressed with the German team. They're making all the right decisions. And so they've struggled with a couple of the calls there, a couple of the results because of poor shot making. But for the most part, I've liked their decision making. And they're not afraid to give up 1 or 2 or 3. They know what they need to do to win this game.
Oh, he did?
No.
Who wanted this?
Georgina Wheatcroft watching the Canadian men play Germany. The Canadian women play Germany this afternoon. Nathalie Nestor and her German team providing the opposition for Kelly Law and company. They have won 5 in a row. They'll try and make it 6 today. Only 1 game on the schedule for the Canadian women today. The Canadian men are back in action tonight. They face Andreas Schwaller of Switzerland. That game gets underway at 9 Eastern time tonight. This afternoon's women's game begins at 4 Eastern time.
And I'm sure Georgina's taking the opportunity to watch some men's curling because you don't get to see the men play when you're playing on alternate draws. But I think her being here is also a sign of support for Kevin Martin's team. She knows that they had a tough battle yesterday and they weren't feeling great about it. And I think her presence here is just to say, hey guys, you know, I'm here for you and try your best. Kevin Martin's team in their quest for removal of all things red with a 3-point lead and last rock.
Carter Rycroft has had a very strong game for Canada. He didn't have a bad game yesterday in the loss to Sweden, but he wasn't satisfied with the way he played. He missed a couple of shots, just not totally completing the shot. And that was frustrating for him.
And I think Kevin's team is really a bottom line type of team. They know they didn't win, and that's really what the most important statistic from yesterday was. And it's nice to see that they are back playing well. But you know, this German team's hanging in there pretty well. Into the 8th end here, down 3, but every opportunity to steal here in 8.
And Kevin Martin is a competitor, and he knows that he let them off the hook last time by missing that shot.
There's a great freeze. Look at that. Dead buried behind that shot at the top 12.
Well, Herberg's numbers are low, but he has made a couple of very key shots.
That was none better than that one. That was amazing, actually, to get around that stone at the top 12. And it's dead frozen on that. Yellowstone at the back of the forefoot.
Big thing to save the shooter, right? Right on the nose is fine. Doesn't matter what happens.
Don Bartlett saying to Walchuk, right in the nose is fine, save the shooter.
Back it off! Hard!
On the nose, onto the red, and the red stone sits by itself at the back of the 4, biting the button.
And now it's a guard for your life sort of situation here for Germany. Even 1 point by Kevin Martin will put this game out of reach. So they need to go for it, go for the steal here.
75.
75 is a split. They're looking for 90 last end for a guard.
12. Schaut gut aus. Kein Strich. Knapp davor. Oh, gar nichts. Gar nichts.
Not a brush.
Sehr schön. Super. Schön gesehen, Jungs.
It's a good shot.
Perfect guard.
The outside edge of the shot stone is visible.
Peel.
Yeah, straight peel.
Peel. Thick.
The danger of spinning in is that your shooter might come onto that red
What, you
stone
want
at
to
the
go
top
at it?
12.
No. I don't really see
Just
a
a
need.
peel.
Play it thick.
And I think the team was asking about the run back. Should we try that right now? And they decided, no, let's just straight peel and ask for a different person to throw the guard, sometimes with a different release from a different shooter. The guard is not placed perfectly.
The peel, and the other red stone doesn't quite go out of the rings, but Canada does have second and third.
Luck sack. What? That's what I was playing. I was.
I think that was for the statistician.
I didn't know how thin it was, but. What?
Yeah.
What?
Carter Rycroft, as you heard, kidding Walchuk, luck sack.
Für die Gas. 88. Ja, so 85 ist 85 mittlere.
Now back to that same situation for Germany, guarding for your life.
Sauber.
88
Ja,
split.
noch. Linie ein bisschen. 2. Ja. Mittlere. 3, 3, 3, 3. Jetzt nur noch sauber. Oh, oh, kalt viel. Kalt viel.
Oh, das ist lang. Läuft lang.
Sauber.
Läuft lang.
Sauber. Oh. Sauber. Auf. Okay.
Another pretty good guard.
Okay. Voll sitzen langsam. Ich brauche mehr Eis.
Kevin Martin looking for the straight back raise. Now, if he doesn't make it, this stone right here, because of the red guard up front here, I think it's very difficult to make that angle raise on that yellow. So Kevin really would like to make this shot now, and then Germany will really have not much at all on their last one.
Now, is this a high hard one, Jones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa, whoa.
There it is.
Oh, nice shot. You can almost tell, as an indication of whether Kevin Martin's going to make that shot or not, how quickly he runs down to the hack to throw it. Like, it's like automatic almost.
So they're a different team today.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
It's almost sometimes the longer that he takes to throw rock, you know, humming and hawing about the shot and everything, then that decreases his chances of making it.
And Sebastian Schock has decided to play a draw. Wide around, not much option left. He's gonna probably have to get that to the back 8 to get it buried. And hopefully steal one that way.
He made a great draw on the previous end with his final stone to bury it.
This one's much more difficult though, because he's drawing around a stone that is top 8 foot.
And if he doesn't bury it,
well,
a similar situation to the last end where the possibility of a 3 exists.
That's exactly what I was just going to say, was that as long as he get, you know, half of the rock buried, a portion of the rock, to make things just a little bit more difficult for Kevin Martin to get the multiple scored.
Platz ist gut. Vorne 4. Platz. Sehr viel Platz. Lang, lang, lang. Viel Platz.
You need to wait for the line.
Hinter. Bis daher. Hard. Quick.
No line.
It's wide open on the button, and 3 appears to be forthcoming for Canada.
Kevin didn't even consider actually trying for the 3. He's just going to throw this hard and pick that out of there, get his deuce, take a 5-point lead. He doesn't want to take any chances with that stone at the top 12.
What?
If he ever knows this will be completely by accident.
Final stone of end number 8. Will this be the final stone of this game? Canada with 2. Canada now leads by a score of 9-4. Well, Germany is going to continue as Stock makes his way to the far end. 2 ends remaining, and Canada in total control, up by 5.
Everything about traveling has changed, but our signs have. You'll find them near all your favorite places, even the ones you haven't discovered yet. Choice Hotels. When you're out there, keep an eye out for our new look. Call 1-800-4CHOICE or visit choicehotels.ca.
When I look back, I realize if I had made that one decision differently, I might not have made it to the Olympics or the World Championships. When I look back, I'm grateful that I gave my life to skating and not to smoking.
This year, over 45,000 Canadians will die from tobacco. That's why it's critical to take strong action to reduce smoking.
Tobacco, we can live without it.
A message from the Government of Canada.
I've been teaching aerobics for about 13 years now. I need a lot of CDs for what I do because I need music for different age levels. If you don't have the proper music for a class, it's not enjoyable for them. I buy my CDs at Walmart. You can go into the electronics department and find the music you're looking for. I just feel like maybe I should have been here as a dolphin or something. There's water in all of us, and I believe that there's music in all of us as well.
Future Shop service specialists install more than hardware and software. They install possibilities. Because life's full of great moments. Why not upgrade them? Future Shop. You'll like what the future has in store.
The 2002 Olympic Winter Games on TSN. Brought to you by McDonald's. There's a little McDonald's in everyone. And by Canada Post. From anywhere to anyone.
Welcome back to our TSN studios here at the International Broadcast Center in Salt Lake City. I'm Gord Miller. Some Olympic news to bring your way. 23-year-old skier David Anderson of Rossland, BC has been injured in what appears to be a training accident at Snow Basin. There are conflicting reports as to what happened. Either he collided with a snowcat or a cable on the course. He's been airlifted to hospital here in Salt Lake City. Now, initial reports indicate that he has injuries to his legs and lower back. No indication that there are more serious injuries than that. However, he was airlifted to hospital, which is always a cause for concern. Meantime, upstairs here at the International Broadcast Center, Dr. Jacques Roga, the president of the IOC, and Ottavio Cinquanta, the president of the International Skating Union, holding a news conference in which they announced there was hard evidence of misconduct by the French judge in the pairs figure skating on Monday night. That judge has been suspended. The investigation continues. But most significantly for Canadians, Jamie Soleil and David Pelche are now gold medalists, co-gold medalists with Berezhnaya and Sigurlica in the pairs figure skating. And no word yet on when they'll receive their medals. There are suggestions it could happen sometime next week. However, Katrina Lemay-Doan is scheduled to get her gold medal for women's speed skating tonight, so it could be a joint ceremony there as well. But Canada has won a second gold medal some 5 days after the competition took place. More updates as the day progresses, but right now, we'll take you back to curling with Don, Joan, and Mike.
Thank you, Gord. And when you talk about gold medals, there's a distinct possibility that 2 could come from the ice sheet in Ogden, as Canada's men's team, Kevin Martin, came into the competition favored to win gold, and Kelly Law on the women's side favored to win gold and defend the title that was won 4 years ago in Nagano by the late Sandra Schmirler. Canada with a 5-point lead playing end number 9. It's going to be pretty tough now for Germany to generate much in the way of offense.
Well, and I think Canada was actually surprised that they didn't quit at the end of the last. And it is a two-game day for the men. Sometimes when you have a chance to get off the ice early, that's a good thing.
Let's update some of the other scores. The United States, Tim Somerville leading Dominic Dupont-Roch of France by a score of 5-3. They are playing end number 9. Norway trying to keep pace with Canada. Norway's Paul Trulsen, just one loss. He leads Ulrich Schmidt of Denmark by a score of 8-4. And in the game between Great Britain and Finland, it's Warwick Smith leading by a 4-3 margin over Markku Huusi-Pavonimi of Finland. The Finnish team has had a few more difficulties in some of their games than a lot of people anticipated they would. They do have a 3-2 record, however. But in a couple of games where it looked as though they might just run away from the opposition, they allowed the opponents to get back into the contest, and they had to struggle for their wins.
And we've seen that with a few of the key teams on both the men's and the women's sides, that, you know, the pre-tournament favorites have struggled early in this round robin, and that's not all that unusual in a tournament like this. There are no gimmies out here, as Joan has mentioned, and you want to make sure you play your best at all times.
Feel. Close work.
I know I've been asked several times whether the women's competition is the same level as it was 4 years ago when we competed in Japan and Nagano, and I honestly can tell you I have no idea. When you are playing, you're not paying attention to anything else going on besides your game.
Uh-oh. Walchuk attempting to peel fans on the stone sitting on the center line.
And this gives Germany a chance now to possibly score 3. They sink another one around the center guard. If Kevin doesn't make a double here, they're going to have a chance to score 3 and, you know, get back in this game. And that's the reason that Germany did play. They wanted to see, I don't think 2's enough, but 3, at least they have an outside chance.
So now it's another chance to run those front stones as Herberg comes up short.
I think his face just shows that kind of disappointment. Had a good chance to get something going late in the game.
Big snack, eh? Yeah.
And only Carter Rycroft is out there to brush this stone.
Yep.
Not quite sure where Don Bartlett has disappeared to.
He's standing on the sidelines close to the far hog line.
Oh, yeah, there
he also did not attempt to sweep Walchuk's last peel either. I think he's just giving it a chance. They're well in control of this game, given a chance to have his back have a rest.
As we have mentioned previously, Bartlett has been plagued with a chronic back problem for about 10 years now.
I asked him about it yesterday because we were mentioning it each day during the telecasts. And I said, you know, how bad is this? Are you milking this or what? And he said, no, it's not bad enough that I can't play. He goes, it's always been there. It is sore, though. He said it definitely is there. So if he has an opportunity to rest it, he's going to take that opportunity.
Hvad hast du? 75. Also gut. 12, vorne ab. Achtung!
I'd like to get this half buried around that yellow guard, and half guard your stone on the button as
Jetzt
well.
am Schluss! Ab jetzt! Ja! Quick! Quick! Noch Stück! Okay.
There's Don Bartlett, and this time it appears he's going to get into position to brush the final stone of the end by Kevin Martin. A little different shot than the one he played before.
No chance in the double.
Martin conceding there is no chance for the double. He wants to remove just one stone. He'll give up 2 and head home, leading by 3 with last rock. Pretty good position to be in.
I like the way I'm sliding right now. Sliding straight.
Geht gleiche Länge, das ist 1 Meter mehr.
That was an interesting comment from Martin. I like the way I'm sliding today. You know, a lot of people who aren't familiar with the sport think all you have to do is worry about throwing the stone. But is the slide that important?
Oh, definitely. It's everything to the accuracy and consistency that is needed to play this game. And confidence in the ability to hit the broom consistently is everything. And that's what we saw what was happening yesterday. Right from the beginning of the game, when Kevin Martin was having trouble. It's just really not his style to have a technical problem.
Stock with the final stone. Event number 9 is going to draw into the forefoot, and Germany will pick up 2. But Canada's Kevin Martin heads home in control with a 9-6 lead.
When Canada wins at the Olympic Winter Games, show your pride and show your Visa card. Because every time Canada wins a medal in Salt Lake City, there's more you can win. And every time you use your Visa card from now until the end of the Games, you get another chance to win. When Canada wins, you can win.
Okay, so this is great. We fired out all the details, we finalized everything, so let's proceed forward. And you know what? It's a great opportunity. So, I'll get them to look at this in the morning, and I suppose you're gonna want this in writing.
Man, we're shook on it. See it.
When you travel in a country like ours, it can be an act of endurance. Knowing this, an innkeeper would welcome you, not as an occupant, but as a human being. Someone who needs privacy, a hot meal. A hotel wouldn't be a poor substitute for the office or home. It would be sanctuary. Delta, your room is ready.
The 2002 Olympic Winter Games on TSN. Brought to you by Vector, Eat or Be Eaten. And by the Dairy Farmers of Canada, proud to stand behind the Canadian Olympic team.
Kevin Martin calling on Don Bartlett just to fire this one through. He can't touch the 2 stones sitting in the free guard zone belonging to Germany. You hear Don Walchuk passing information along to Don Bartlett about the decision regarding Saleh and Pelche. So they're up to date on other things that are taking place at these Olympic Games. The team liaison was passing the information along to Walchuk during the break, and Walchuk informed his teammates that double gold medals have been awarded in figure skating.
Don Bartlett could have made a pass at either of these stones to play the tick shot, but if he missed it, he'd be just junking up the area in the house, making peels a little tougher. With a 3-point lead, you don't need any more rocks in play, not even if they are your own color.
And now Martin can take a run at those red stones out front with Carter Rycroft doing the shooting.
Hard. And you notice Bartlett again is taking a break on sweeping peels. Oh, that's a mistake. Apparently they needed Bartlett.
Now, when you're trying to steal 3, I think I'd just be going right around these corner guards here and try to lay 3 or 4 by the time Kevin throws last one by throwing up more. You just need rocks in the house and they get the stage rather than throwing up more guards.
Instead of leaving it till your last 2 to put in the house.
Pretend you have the hammer, try to sit 3 or 4 and hope for a miss from Kevin, and rather than the conventional style of trying to steal with center guards.
Zwei. Komm rüber. Richtung ist gut. Ding ist gut. Okay. Schön, Stefan.
Viel curled. Sorry, yeah.
2 games are complete. Tim Somerville of the United States, an 8-3 victor over Dominic Dupont-Roch of France. And that means that the United States is now at 3-3. And Paul Trulson of Norway with a 9-4 win over Ulrich Schmidt of Denmark. And Norway now has a 4-1 record. Denmark is at 1-5. Great Britain playing the 10th, leading Finland by a score of 4-3. Great Britain with a record of 1-3. They desperately need a win here if they are to retain really any hope of staying in contention for a medal. And Finland is at 3-2.
Wow, knapp vor.
And that game on sheet C between Great Britain and Finland is very interesting. Finland has last rock. They are trailing by 1. So they need 2 to win, and there are rocks in the house.
Oh. Gotta go this way.
Okay.
Back to the game of elimination of all things red.
Wait, yep.
And that red stone is gone. Germany still lies 1.
5. It's good that he's giving off. He didn't maybe throw the double. It would have made it. Guaranteed.
Nicht rumgehen. Stocky, sollen wir den?
That was Walchuk.
Und den splitten. Den hinter die andere Guard. Muss ja 3 im Haus halten. Ja. Backline. Ja.
Trying to split 2 red stones behind both guards. Good call.
As you pointed out earlier, Mike, continued to be impressed with the strategy called by Sebastian Stock.
Really, the only mistake he did make, I think, was in the first end, and the choice he made on his last stone. You know, you hate giving your opponents points. When he came to throw Kevin Martin, was only lying 1. Of course, ended up giving up a steal of 2.
Kevin Martin again calling for the peel.
You know, Walchuk kind of wants the opportunity to end this game. If he makes a double, it's all over.
Now the best the Germans can do is tie.
Thanks for the calls.
Yeah, well, I want to take nothing behind or nothing stupid. Hey, those are percentage calls.
Trying to raise his stats.
Der bringt nichts.
I think Kevin just wanted to throw the last shot.
Oh, I wasn't going to say that. That would be
Sorry,
skip
der bringt
bashing.
nichts. Wir müssen 3 stehlen. Ich verteile einen hinter die Guard, den anderen hinter die, dass ich zweimal hinter einer Guard liege. Das ist doch die einzige Chance. Dann macht er sie auf, dann lege ich den dritten dazu und dann hoffe ich, dass er was fängt. Was anderes geht doch nicht.
There's not much to talk about
Wenn ich
here.
so rumgehe, schießt er Nase.
He just said that he wants to split the stone in behind both guards, and that's their only chance. And Sebastian Stock saying, well,
mehr wie Backline. Fausttag.
well, he talked him into it.
Bisschen weniger.
He's right. Needs to get them both buried to have any chance at all.
Noch ein bisschen.
I'm very impressed with your interpretation.
Thank you, John.
Yep. Yep.
Talk curling, teach golf, and buy a meal. That's about it.
Backline. Yep. Hard!
That will be a wrap.
And that's it. Trying to split. The stone slides through, and it's handshake time as Canada defeats Germany, and the score will go in the books as a 9-7 Canadian victory, even though the final 3 stones at the end are not played.
Good luck.
The problem with looking for a job is that a job